Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about why you have such toxic friendships and where you learn this stuff. Where'd you learn it? How did you learn to create these relationships with people that just don't serve you? Well, I'm going to give you a hint. It started in the home. That's where it started. I gave the answer. Anyway, it started at home. Like their family of origin were people who helped you understand how relationships, they modeled that for you, how relationships are going to work for you. And you carry that into the world despite your best efforts to make something different. And you created a mess. You didn't know how to create the relationship that you're looking for because you never had it modeled for you. And that's okay. Let's talk about it. Are you ready? Let's go. So I was saying something like, I grew up in a home where I was the black sheep of the family. Wow, nobody understands me. Wow, nobody appreciates me. Wow, nobody accepts me. I sound like a baby with that, mocking my own self. But I mean, that's what happened. I felt so victimized, so misunderstood, so unappreciated. And I'm not saying that my feelings weren't valid. They certainly are. I'll be the first one to tell you that they're valid. I'm poking fun at myself and who I was back then, making light of it because it was really a painful experience, right? If I were to return back to that point in time, I'd feel so alone and so disconnected. But now I have this understanding of myself. I have this understanding of what the people in my life were experiencing themselves too. They were trying to create a relationship and they didn't know how to do it. They were just following the blueprint, the pattern that has been set out before. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't express things except anger. Don't express your joys. Try to control other people. All those things that they did, I did, right? We did all that stuff trying to create a meaningful relationship with each other because that's what we were taught. That's what we were taught. And that's what's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And as it goes, it's usually one person, because the trope of black sheep has been around for a while. It's been around for a while. It's not something that I invented, and we know there's a definition to it. The person that doesn't fit in with the family. If you've seen Encanto, we're talking about Bruno right here. And it's about how this one person has looked at those relationships that have been around and started asking questions like, why don't we talk about our feelings after a big explosive fight happens? How just I've been hurt. Can we talk about that? And having it be gaslit, saying you're so sensitive, nobody cares about that. It's not a big deal. You're making a big deal of something that is nothing, and being dismissed. And maybe pointing out some inconsistencies. Like for me and my family is this religious thing. I would watch people go to church. They would say go to church, praise the Lord, do all this stuff, and follow the rules in the Bible, but they're not doing it. The adults in my life weren't doing those things. The adults that would punish me or tell me I was a bad person for not following the rules would constantly break them, and they'd be like, do as I say and not as I do. What we're discovering now is that that's not how it works. Essentially, people model, they follow the model that they receive. And despite our best effort, you might be looking at your family members and being like, I know exactly what not to do. I know exactly how not to be. I'm not going to ever say things that I don't mean and do things I don't mean and raise my voice and yell and swear and do all kinds of things that hurt and upset me. I'm going to listen to people. I'm going to be understanding. And you go out there believing that you're going to do that, but you can't do it. You can't do it. You won't do it unless you had some kind of modeling, some kind of reprogramming, some kind of replacement for all the beliefs and the modeling actions that you receive from your family members. You won't be able to go out there and create these relationships with your friends or with your new family that you want unless you do something with yourself, unless you spend time understanding you and where these beliefs come from. And I'll tell you the reason, at least this is true for me. And I think if you pick up this book called The Body Keeps the Score, you will discover that too, is because these emotions, these experiences, they live within you, and subconsciously, unconsciously, they live in your mind. And when you have an experience that's like the one you had when you were programmed, or what you learned, or was modeled back in the day, many, many years ago, the reaction that you had, or what you've been taught to be safe in that experience, or what felt right, what got settled into your DNA, resurfaces unconsciously, and you create the same kind of feeling. You create the same kind of feeling that you had before. So take this example. Let's say you were really, really excited about something at school and you wanted to share that with your parents. And you're like, yay, mommy, yay, daddy, look at this thing. I got an A on my report card, or I made this really fun thing at school. And they turn around to you, because who knows what's going on with them. They're adults, got stressed. They're not even emotionally regulated. And they're like, get that out of here. I'm not interested in that today. And they snap at you, and it's boom, it's programmed. It's right there in you. And it happens enough, it repeats and repeats and repeats. And what you learn from that experience is that joyful, exciting event that you bring up, you should not, because you're going to get that response. Don't bring it up to those people. Don't talk about those things to those people, because you're going to get the negative, the painful, the dismissive response that you don't want, right? So that's programmed. That's settled. It's in your DNA. It's there, right? Just imagine that this is happening to you, or has happened to you. And you're like, when you start growing up, you're like, ooh, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. And you start connecting and seeing other people, and you're observing. Maybe you're quiet, a little bit of introverted, and you're watching other people, and you're like, well, maybe this could be different. I'd like to share my feelings. I'd like to do a little more. Maybe you see people on TV. This has happened to me in the 90s, watching Full House, watching Family Matters, watching Step by Step, all those wholesome TV shows where they resolved every problem that they had in 30 minutes. I was like, yeah, this is the kind of life. I wonder why my family's not doing this stuff. I wonder why I can't talk about the things that are fun and interesting and exciting to me without having them reject it or laugh at it or whatnot. I don't feel good. So then you, me, whatever, the black sheep, decides that they're not going to have the same kind of relationships or experiences that they're having as kids, that they had as kids. When they get out of the house, they're like, look, I'm going to create my relationships, and they're going to be different. They're not going to be that thing. And so what they do, and what I have done, is I focused on that particular event of not being able to share something, and tried to connect with people about something to share with, like some fun experience. Like for me, it was Dance Dance Revolution. When I was in college, I just found people who wanted to play Dance Dance Revolution nonstop. I lived on a college campus where it was there. I'm telling you, I spent so much money there. Dance Dance Revolution was a full $1 to play for these songs, and washing clothes and drying clothes was like $150 for a load. So wash and dry would be $3. And how I would talk about spending money at the Dance Dance Revolution machine, or spending money anywhere, would equivalent, instead of saying $1, I would say that was one Dance Dance Revolution set. So I would think about my laundry as it'd be $3 to do one load. And I was like, man, that's 3 whole Dance Dance Revolution sets. I don't know if I don't want to pay that. But that's to give you an idea of how interested and obsessed and how much I liked this thing, and how much I wanted to share it with other people. And I thought, that's it. I want to be able to share these things with people. But lo and behold, there were a myriad of things. There was just a tip of the iceberg of things that I was afraid to share, because of the feeling of fear would rise right back up. And so I wasn't able to create a deep, meaningful relationship, because I only targeted one thing to share. I only targeted a few things that I need to be open. I need to be open about this. I need to be around people who like the things that I like. Dance Dance Revolution just happened to be it. But if you dig deeper into the surface, there were other things that I wanted to share, that you want to share with other people, that you just don't know it until you share. But that belief that has been ingrained in you since you were a kid will not allow you to come up and share those things. It says, subconsciously, you're not sharing that. Don't share your deepest desires, your fears with these people because it's not safe. It's never been safe. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted to share this really fantastic thing with your parents and they told you to get out of here with it? It's going to happen again. Don't do it. It's going to happen again. Don't do it. You don't know that's happening, but the emergency is safe. The emergency release comes on and it tells you stop. The emergency brakes, stop. Don't. And that's why we don't create the kind of relationships we want, even though we look at our parents and we say, look, I don't want this. But you don't know what the other alternative is. You don't know deeply enough what it is. So in order to get out of this, what we really need to do is spend time with ourselves, spend time with another person to intentionally unpack that garbage that's in there, those beliefs. You want to imagine opening up your head. Just imagine like cutting that up and opening up your head and just reaching in and pulling out these things. Or if a better visual for you would be tilting your head so where your ear is parallel to the floor, and you tap your head and all the beliefs come out. You tap it and it falls onto a table, and you sort through the things on the table, and you pick it up and you look at it and you say, where did this come from? Why do I have this? How is this helping me? How is this serving me? How is this helping me create the relationships that I want? You need to be able to do that. You need someone to help you do that, whether it be a therapist or a coach. You're journaling, you do some reflection where you're talking into video or audio and you're reflecting back on some of those experiences, but you definitely need somebody from the outside to help you with this. You need a different point of view. You need a book. You need a person. You need some new knowledge about how to be, because you cannot fathom, right? You can't think another thought until you learn what else to think, right? So just stay with me on this. So what you want to do is spend time by yourself, understanding more about this, understanding more about what it is that you want to change, and then how it works when you're working or connecting with other people is that now you know what you've changed. Let's say you tweak the little thing, the belief or the actions or whatever else is going on inside. You tweak that and you go out into the world and you go and try it. You go and try it and you see how it works. You're getting the responses that you want from other people. Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling comfortable with other people because you made this new belief? You made this new change. Now, instead of just talking about Dance Dance Revolution, you're going to talk about something that's more deeply important to you to see how they respond. You won't be able to do that unless you know that you will be safe when doing that, because that emergency brake, that fail-safe will go off and it will prevent your lips from moving to say the thing to make you closer and connect. It will do that unless you realize it's there and disable it. And once you disable it, this is the final thing that I want to say about this, is once you disable it, you replace it with new beliefs, new actions, new emotions, new thoughts about your experiences with other people. And if you know what you want, it makes it much easier to replace it. Because if you go around the world and you say, I know I don't want this kind of relationship, I don't want this kind of relationship, you're going to find a lot of the kind of relationships that you don't want. You're going to find yourself in relationships surrounded by people who are doing things that you don't want, because you don't really know what it is that you do want. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam. If you'd like a little more guidance and hands-on support, then I've got great news. You can hire me as your own personal coach. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to apply for individual or group coaching. In this 12-week program, I'm going to help you make the meaningful connections that you deserve. After this coaching program, I promise you'll be able to do 3 things. 1, you'll be able to clearly identify who belongs in your tribe and who doesn't. Say goodbye to those people who are wishy-washy, you're unsure of. No, you will know for certain whether or not they deserve to be in the same space with you. And second, you are going to know that your thoughts and feelings are valid and worth expressing. So if you do have feelings about your friends not holding up boundaries or not holding up space for you or not meeting your needs, then you are not going to shy away from telling them. You will be able to communicate your boundaries in a clear, concise manner and advocate for yourself in your relationships. And finally, you are going to learn how to start and stop conversations with strangers and steer them towards topics that are interesting and important to you. I don't know about you, but I don't have weeks, months, years to discover whether or not me and my new friend have compatible values. If you know what you're looking for, you can discover if you're compatible in just a few conversations. If all this sounds good to you and you're ready to make those meaningful connections, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. Again, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. I look forward to working with you. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you have burning questions about your friendships and your platonic relationships with your coworkers and so forth, let me know. Write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com, and I might just read your letter out loud. All right, so this one is about moving on from a toxic friend. I had this friend for a few years who I used to trust, and I would help her out whenever she needed help. However, there have been a couple times where I really needed her to help me out, and each time I needed her, she would fail to follow through. The last time for me was a final straw, because it actually cost me financially. I confronted her about this and how she's never been there for me when I needed her, and she genuinely didn't seem to care. She would say that she agreed with my points, but she didn't show any sort of remorse and looked like she couldn't care less. I then told her I would like to end the friendship, and she just agreed straight away. No arguments. I don't know why, but her lack of care is still bugging me, and I can't seem to move on. What can I do to move on, because I have classes with her at university? All right. So this is interesting, and this is a really, I understand this. I had to breathe a little bit because this feels, I mean, it hit the feels. I would apply this to many family dynamics in these relationships where, your parents can treat you unwell. They can be toxic to you. They can say the worst things to you, and you're still like, please accept me. Please like me. I'm important to you, aren't I? And I get that when it comes from your family members, because I don't know why we're programmed to do that and look at these people like we need their acceptance and all this, and they can get away with some mean and harsh, toxic things. But we're looking at a friendship. I don't even know how long this person has been friends. It says friends for a few years, who I used to trust. And I'm not a therapist, but I have read some books and I've had my own therapy, and I've learned about how my own patterns work, and I'm looking at this and overlapping with the family dynamics. And what can I do to move on? Because that's the question. What can I do to move on? Whew. Therapy is not what this podcast is, but definitely there's a lot. It seems that there's a lot there to unpack. And I would look back at your family of origin and wonder how you got this idea that you need to chase after somebody the way you are. Because I used to do that too. I used to people please, and I wanted people to know. I wanted people to care and respect and appreciate me, and then I would do all kinds of things so they can get that respect and appreciation, and it never came. It never came in the way because I was doing something else. I was actually hiding myself, and that's a whole nother thing when it comes to building relationships. When you're a people pleaser, you just forget that you exist. Essentially, your feelings and stuff don't matter. You try really, really hard to be accepted, and lo and behold, you aren't accepted because we don't like fake people. Most people just don't want to deal with fake people. So that's what happens. And so there's a family dynamic there that put that belief inside of your head. You've had tons of experiences or something along that. Again, I'm not a therapist, but From my own experience, just mapping it over to yours, it seems like you've had those experiences in life where you've been told that you must give, you must do, you must be more than you are, and then people will appreciate you. And that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. And so you're looking at this friend who's toxic, and the wildest thing about this is that they are telling you, they're not manipulating you. They're not saying, oh no, I'm your best friend, I'm here for you, I always will be here for you. They are like, I don't care. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your thoughts, your ideas. I am a shitty friend. Yes, I am. Okay, move on. And then you're like, what? What are you talking about? How are you just saying this to me? Don't you know all the things that I've done for you? We're supposed to be good. You're supposed to be upset because I want to walk away from you. I need your tears. Cry. Right now, be upset. Look how you've hurt me as a friend. Look how good of a friend I've been to you, and look how much you have hurt me. Cry. Beg. Do something to show that you care for me. And they, your friend, is just looking at you like, yeah, I know I'm bad. I know I'm not a good friend to you. I know this and that, and I just don't care. So, are we done here? That is the tone. That's the tone of the relationship. If you're in a relationship like that, if you have friends like that, it would be great to just let them go, right? But there's something that pulls us in, that makes us believe. It could have something to do with being a black sheep in the family, trying to give as much as you possibly can in order to be accepted, trying to adjust, that's my story anyway, with the people pleasing and being the black sheep. Like, well, my intellect and the things that I say are weird, so I'll do as much as I can physically to make you like me. Well, you don't like any of those things that I do for you either? Well, that just sucks. You're family, so I guess I'm here. I'm stuck with you. It doesn't have to be true either. You don't have to hang out with family. You don't have to keep those kind of relationships. But this one, you want to move on to the writer of this. You want to move on. You want to move away. You don't know why that her lack of care is bugging you. But this is definitely something that needs a lot more unpacking. A conversation with a therapist about it. What's so important about that person in particular that you want them to care? That's the question that pops up in my mind. What's so important about that person that you want them to care for you? Of all the billions of people we have on this planet, you just want this one. Why? What's there? What's going on with you? If you're in a situation like this and you're thinking about how you want your toxic friend to notice you, I'd encourage you to ask that same question to yourself. You deserve more fulfilling, supportive relationships that are reciprocal. They care about you just as much as you care about them. You don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to be anybody else. You are the gift because you are. You're the gift because you are. You just exist. And you can bring joy to people in their life. And you can feel that sense of fulfillment and joy in your own life. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media, and I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.